Is renting forever a mistake? 32-year male, high-collar area, expensive real estate market that isn't cooling off. Never want to have kids. No pets. No debt, good credit. Living below my means. Planning an early retirement. I contribute over $4,000 a month currently towards retirement investments Roth, 457, brokerage account and make enough to pay rent in my desired neighborhood. I could never afford a house where I rent. Mortgage like 3-4x cost of renting. The idea of home ownership brings me stress. The debt, the commitment to one place, repairs and damages, I'm not handy. Real estate has long been a great investment to build wealth. Am I making a financial mistake by continuing to rent and investing heavily with the rest of my income? As long as you keep investing the difference, renting will be fine. Lifetime renter. Working out fine so far into retirement. Owning a home is not for everyone. It is a very personal choice, and there is no right or wrong. I have known people that rented all their lives, and had no regrets. Sounds like you are setting yourself up perfectly. Don't be pressured into being an owner. As you rightfully posted, ownership is not stress-free. Life is fickle. A moment eventually arrives to each of us where the pieces fall into place, and the ownership opportunity will present itself. Make that choice then. Good luck, you will be fine. Am I making a financial mistake by investing $48,000 a year at 32 years old? Absolutely not. Your money life is different from everyone else's, and if you find value being in a certain location or want to check out different places, aka move around, or don't want the hassle of maintenance, then there isn't anything wrong with renting. We have been sold the dream that home ownership is necessary to be successful, but it's not true. Home ownership absolutely can contribute to building wealth, and it is one of the most popular ways of doing it, but there are different strategies. You're paying for convenience by renting, and you determine if it's worth it. No, it definitely isn't always a mistake. I'd say in your situation it actually looks like a good idea. You are still investing, don't want to be tied down to a house or worry about maintenance. I say you keep doing you, thumbs up, thumbs up. You're thinking the right way. In renting you avoid many undesirables like maintenance costs, time, taxes, insurance, mortgage interest, PMI in many cases, etc. 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 I would consider exposure to real estate in your investment portfolio via REITs, etc. But not owning a home is a perfectly okay way to fly. By investing almost $50,000 a year, you'll have some serious fuck you money very soon. Home ownership isn't for everyone, and in your case doesn't make even the slightest bit of sense. No, it works well for tons of people so long as they make the same important preparations for other goals and for retirement. Same situation here. Getting tired of everyone telling me to buy a damn house. Not for everybody, but renting and spending the difference rather than investing would be. Most of my friends who are exceedingly wealthy that live in LA, Miami, NYC all rent. I'm very much in the boat that home ownership is the reason why a lot of people are poor in America. They pull everything they have together to buy a house that they can't afford, just for it to appreciate to a year, but there's all these phantom costs. In 30 years they look down and could have had $8 million in the stock market, but instead have a $400,000 house that's falling apart. It's been fine for generations of New Yorkers, for one place. There's nothing inherently wrong with renting versus buying. Buying is a very expensive investment, and if you're buying a house, you're correct in that it is a lot of work and maintenance. There are potential upsides to that investment, but also risk to go along with it. If you can afford to stay in your situation and continue investing like that, then you're on track to have a fantastic retirement. If you really want to own a home, moving outside of said whole area upon retirement will allow you to easily do so and live like a king. As much as I hate that happening all over where I live, that's definitely a sound financial move. If I made enough money, I think I would move back into a rental. There is so much work involved in owning a home. Also buying snowblowers and lawn mowers. But mostly it is the time sink. Landscaping, maintenance and projects. Owning a home is like having a second job. I just had to change my sink faucet, gotta go mow the lawn. Renting isn't a bad deal, unless the payments are hindering you. You might be able to purchase a townhouse or condo that might be beneficial to your life. Only 5 years in and my mortgage for a 3-bedroom is now the same as a 2-bedroom apartment. Add another 20 years onto that and see how that looks. So when you say invest the difference, what difference? Because soon you'll be paying considerably more in rent than the mortgage. No, bro. Owning a home is propaganda. Renting is fine because it is less stressful and less commitment. There is no phantom costs when renting an apartment. The price you see is what you pay, at most you pay the rent. An apartment, you aren't tied down to one location. You can finish the lease and move. You can't really do this with a house. There are hundreds of thousands of successful people in Manhattan, New York City, USA that rent apartments and they seem to be doing fine. Ramit Sethi, the I Will Teach You to Be Rich author, rents. Some people like it better. Sounds like you're killing it. Personally for me, yes, it's a mistake. But I'm a realtor and everything learned about my area says get people out of renting ASAP. For you it sounds like it doesn't affect life enough to matter. The stress may just not be worth the benefits for you, and that is completely okay. Don't let anyone make you feel less a BCU rent or pressure you to buy if you don't want to. I wouldn't call it a mistake, but I would argue you have less room for error. You're going to have to budget properly and assume both natural inflation and rental increases for the cost of never owning real property. That's one of the beauties of real property, is you have a fixed lower cost once your real property is paid off. Theoretically it shouldn't matter from a personal finance perspective if you have budgeted for this cost, like any other, for your retirement though. Real estate has long been a great investment to build wealth. Am I making a financial mistake by continuing to rent and investing heavily with the rest of my income? For this reason, I would say yes. I've purchased 6 houses. Each time I replace floors, paint, toilets, etc. Sell and repeat. I've built a good amount of wealth. Rent will always go up. But a mortgage will stay the same or go down. Where do you live where a mortgage is 3-4x the cost of renting? This makes no sense. If it did, nobody would invest in real estate and there would be no rentals available. Renting is always the more expensive option. I'm 47 and a renter for the other reasons you listed, as well as because I went through a divorce. But I'm paying 40 more now than I did on my mortgage. I'm paying extra for the luxury of not having to be tied down to a home. Why don't even get to keep the keys when the lease is away money? Just buy something tiny instead of blowing all your money on rent. My guy, you can invest in real estate you don't live in. Cop a multi-unit in a local area and ride that asset class wave. In your situation, the best plan is rent until you live in that place to allow you make much more than elsewhere, and once you reach your retirement wealth you move and buy a place somewhere where it's cheaper to buy than rent and you retire there. As an alternative, and as a hedge against retirement housing costs being untenable in a hard-to-predict future, you might consider buying a vacation home outside your whole area that you can offset costs by renting out. If you hire a property manager, they can take care of the day-to-day. Yes, this eats into your other investments, but you could consider this diversifying. How have you avoided rent rate increases each renewal? It's important to remember that finances are a means to an end. Owning a house is generally a better investment, but now is a terrible time to get a mortgage. You do what you want to do. We are buying because we are willing to pay more for the stability of ownership. We're not looking to make money or to find a good investment. It will be much more expensive to own for us, but we can afford it, and it's what we want because it fits our needs, wants, lifestyle, etc. You can always invest in real estate in your brokerage if you don't want the obligations of owning.